when at 95, my mother went into a retirement home. There was nothing wrong. She just needed a different place to live, not be so dependent on driving in her car 5 miles to get a quart of milk. They said to her to please bring her medical records. And she said, I don't have any. And they said, you've never been to a doctor? And my mother said, no, I don't go to doctors. I'm a Christian Scientist.
I'm thinking about my grandmother. I don't know why, but I'm gonna get mushy.
In my short life, I have come to appreciate the different ways that people do life. So when I moved back to Minnesota unexpectedly, I got really close with my grandmother, who is from South Dakota, Minnesota border, and very small town. And she actually lives 2 miles from where she was born. Just think about that.
I try to go home once a year. Can't wait. I got to go back. Is it June 30th for my mother's 80th birthday? And now, first of all, we're having it at the church. And there's probably 200 people coming. The invitation, please don't bring any gifts. Just come with a funny story about Mariel, my mother. So, just totally going through my mind, trying to come up with something funny, something original, something that my brothers and sisters won't be saying. Lots of funny stuff. My mom was just hilarious. So. She raised all 8 of us by herself, and anyway, wow. Anyway, we were always running out of gas.
I think about her because she's responsible for all of the wonderful things that I believe I possess. Things like culture and grace and table manners and how one holds themselves up and how one interacts in social environments and that old world gracefulness and femininity.
My mom's a badass. Be the middle of the night or whatever, always on the back roads because we were trying to save gas or something. She would just hail down a semi truck or something like that. We'd all hop up in the semi and go down to a gas station, get a gallon of gas and stick it in whatever car I think back in those days we oftentimes pushing, like in 1974, Buick Electra.
You know, I think a lot of times, like, the people that I idolize are people that, like, you know, work for the UN, or they've traveled a bunch, or they're authors, or, you know, all of these, like, things that gain, you know, recognition. And my grandmother probably isn't known outside of the, you know, 100-mile radius of where she lives. But in that space, she has made an incredible impact.
She passed suddenly. I was 25 years old, and she came to visit one summer, and she would always come and stay a month with my father, and she'd stay and she'd cook and she'd be at the, you know, like a happy homemaker, and she'd do grandmotherly things and drive us or spend time with us and fix our clothes, sew things up, and fill the fridge and the cabinets full of food for everybody before she'd depart. But that particular visit, she left early, and she had gotten into some altercation or argument with her son, my father, and my stepmom. So she left this usual month vacation she'd spent in America. She left and she went back to Venezuela. And that was maybe August, September. And then, a sprinkle of months later, she was very sick. And I just remember my father and I flying to Caracas, and then she died. Not even 24 hours since our arrival. It was as if she was waiting for us.
One morning she got up, took a shower. She dressed nicely for a 99-year-old lady, sat down in a chair. A woman from the staff came in and said, "Jane, you haven't come in for breakfast." And my mother apparently said, "Well, I feel a little tired." And the woman said, "Well, Jane, I'll bring you a glass of orange juice." And well, back in about 5 minutes, my mother's in the chair, but she was gone. And it was just the perfect thing, perfect way. And I'm sure she planned it, because everything had to be done properly with my mom. And that was the way to go.
Whether it's her wit and her way of seeing things, or her her care and her I can't even describe it. The thoughtfulness in which she engages with people, it's profound. And you know, she always says, I talk to her probably every week at this point. It's great. I like call her on my lunch break from Midtown Manhattan, and it's crazy, and people are like running all over the place. And I like call my grandma, who's just like at home in like a town of like 30 people in the Midwest, and I'm like, "Grandma, I'm not doing great. You know, I'm tired or whatever." And I just check in with her, and she always says that she wouldn't change anything, because she feels like she's been very honest in her life, and very kind and good to people, and in turn the world has been good to her. And I think that's beautiful. She'll be 91 in February, and I really hope that when I'm 91 I'm able to look back and be like, I wouldn't change a damn thing. I feel good about it all.